Thank you for joining us for the Barbados Today afternoon news for Thursday, December 7. I am Marie-Claire Williams. The Freundel-Stewart administration is being told that it should not be surprised at its inclusion on a new list of global tax havens. The list, which was released by the European Union earlier this week, includes 3 other Caribbean countries. Shadow Minister of International Business Kerrie Symmonds told Barbados Today that government failed to put its house in order. He said the EU warned government almost 10 years ago that its fiscal incentive regimes were to be amended, and they had already granted extensions up to 2015.
But the fact of the matter is that the European Union has been insisting that they receive from us clear and easily defined undertakings, and that must come in the form of draft legislation. You must be able to demonstrate that you have done something conclusively, taken concrete steps, not just a mere promise.
A mere commitment would not suffice.
Pardon?
A mere commitment would not have sufficed.
Oh no!
Okay.
The government has to take concrete steps. And what Minister Innes is saying is that they sent a letter. But the European Union is not going to be moved by a letter from Barbados, because Barbados has been begging for time for the last 8 years. And you just can't kick the can down the road repeatedly.
Students at the Elliott Belgrave Primary School can expect to be housed in new surroundings within the next 2 years. Addressing the renaming of the Boscobel Primary yesterday, Education Minister Ronald Jones said preparations are now being made for the new building. He added that there are plans for similar work on other schools around the island.
It is one of 8 schools that we had identified a few years ago. In fact, I believe the plans are being drawn all right now for this school. Among those would have been a school like Belmont, a primary, Wesley Hall, St. Martin's, Mangrove, major construction at St. Philip Primary, and Wilkie Cumberbatch, as well as a new secondary school, a school in St. John to replace the St. John Primary, and to take care of those citizens who come from Society, Port Savannah, and those areas, to be part of that parcel of schools that are being worked on.
Former Environment Minister Liz Thompson is calling for the sacking of 5 government ministers over the ongoing sewage problems on the South Coast. Thompson told Barbados Today that Finance Minister Chris Sinclair, Environment Minister Dr. Dennis Lowe, Tourism Minister Richard Seeley, Minister of Water Resources Management Dr. David Estwick, as well as the Health Minister John Boyce have failed to effectively manage recurring environmental issues.
It is a national disgrace. It is a public health hazard. It is an environmental and engineering disaster at every level. The ministers of health, tourism, water resources, environment, and I understand part of the problem comes from cutting the budget and starving the sewage project of funds to do maintenance and to buy replacement parts. So the Minister of Finance, they should all resign or be fired immediately.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Barbados Today, news you can trust.
Thank you for staying with us. We're back with news from the region. Law enforcement authorities in Jamaica are investigating the discovery of a shipment of illegal guns and ammunition in Miami destined for Kingston. U.S. border agents seized 117 illegal guns and hundreds of rounds of ammunition last month at Miami International Airport. We get more in this report from TVJ News.
TVJ News understands that the shipment of weapons and ammunition were destined for the criminal underworld in Montego Bay, St. James. Last month, U.S. Customs personnel were conducting a routine inspection of a shipment said to contain personal effects to be placed on a flight destined for Montego Bay. A detailed inspection revealed various food items, a cardboard box labeled as a 4-drawer dresser, and a cardboard box labeled as a television stand. Further checks of the items revealed the shipment of weapons: 2 high-powered rifles, 115 pistols, 139 magazines, as well as more than 200 rounds of ammunition were found. 9 handgun bag straps, 5 magazine parts, 3 pistol grips, and 3 buttstocks and weapon parts were also discovered. A senior investigator told TVJ News that Jamaican police had been working closely with their American counterparts to identify and capture the individuals behind the gun shipment. However, the covert operation reportedly went bust. He said the guns and ammunition were destined for criminal gangs in Montego Bay. The investigator said the cops are now trying to determine whether the latest find is linked to last month's gun find at the Kingston terminal, in which 19 weapons and more than 4,000 rounds were intercepted.
Further afield, dozens of organizations in Venezuela are hosting walking tours around the capital, Caracas, despite the high murder rates and political unrest. But some of the visitors say they feel safe amid the volatile situation. We get more in this Reuters report.
With political protests rocking Venezuela this year, Caracas has turned into an extremely dangerous place with high kidnapping and murder rates, hunger, and political unrest. Taking a casual stroll around the Venezuelan capital would seem like a bad idea, but not for the dozen or so organizations setting up walking tours exploring the city's architecture and barrios. Some volunteers are even offering tours for free, while other small businesses charge between 20 cents and $2 at the black market exchange rate.
It turns out that here you feel more protected because you have people and are more accompanied. I think that as long as there are groups like that to go out with, it gives some comfort when you take out your camera.
The groups, which mostly consist of Venezuelans, are as small as 4 participants or as large as 150. The tours take people around the city where they can chat with locals and enjoy Venezuelan culture. But that comes against the backdrop of Venezuela's ranking last year as the nation with the second highest murder rate after El Salvador.
We live in a city beset by insecurity and fear. That fear paralyzes us and doesn't allow us to do the things that are normal in other parts of the world, like walking on the street, having coffee wherever you want.
According to the Venezuelan Observatory of Violence, the homicide rate in Caracas alone was a staggering 140 per 100,000 people this year.
And finally, the fallout continues from U.S. President Donald Trump's announcement yesterday that Washington will now recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital. Arabs and Muslims across the Middle East are condemning the decision as an incendiary move in a volatile region, and Palestinians say Washington is abandoning its leading role as a peace mediator. We get more from Reuters.
On the world stage, Donald Trump cuts a lonely figure over his decision to recognize Jerusalem as Israel's capital.
As the capital.
Warnings have come from across the world, including major allies like France and Great Britain.
The status of Jerusalem should be determined as in a negotiated settlement between the Israelis and the Palestinians.
The Saudi royal court has issued a statement warning of dangerous consequences. Turkey's President Tayyip Erdogan accused Trump of throwing the region into a ring of fire, saying the decision disregards a 1980 UN resolution regarding the status of the city. Protesters hit the streets in Turkey and Lebanon. In Bethlehem, outside the Church of the Nativity, they switched off the Christmas lights in protest. Palestinian President Mahmoud Abbas saying the United States has abdicated its role as a peace mediator. The last round of US brokered talks between Israel and the Palestinians collapsed in 2014. The status of Jerusalem has always been a major sticking point. Israel sees the contested city as its undivided capital. The Palestinians claim the east as theirs. Trump has touted himself as a master negotiator, but many are now questioning the credibility of the US as an honest broker of Middle East peace.
That's news this afternoon. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. You can also find us on Mix 96.9 FM. I am Marie Claire Williams. Have a good afternoon.